Welcome back, everyone, to our Groundskeeper chat series. I'm your host, Meg Kruger. I am the content lead with Pioneer Athletics. And today I am joined by a fellow podcaster, a new host to the game. Hailey Tucker is going to be joining me to talk about her new podcast, The Grass Gal podcast. So we're excited to hear about its origin story, what they have planned for the future, and then also just talk some turf as well and hear what she's got going on. So Hailey, I'll turn it over to you. Lay the groundwork for us. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your current position, and tell us about your summer, because I know you had an exciting one.
Yes. Well, thanks, Meg. Excited to be here. My name is Hailey Tucker. I am a junior turf science major from Texas A&M. And like Meg said, I am creating a new podcast called The Grass Gal. I just released the first episode last week, which was very exciting. Um, I guess I can kind of go into my background a little bit, but I met Meg at the first Little League Softball World Series last year. It was awesome. That's what kickstarted my career and opened so many doors.
Oh, wow.
I've been working with Chase Straw and Weston Floyd at the A&M Turf Research Facility, going on 2 years there. I've worked this past year from January to May during baseball season. I got the opportunity to work with Nick McKenna with A&M Athletics, which was awesome experience. I interned with Carolina Green this summer. I got to learn a lot of different aspects of the industry. Yep, there's the text message from her.
Nice.
I started out in the office. I got to learn a lot about the design aspect that they do, project management, budget, a bunch of administrative things. I got to work on the sod farm, and I was very interested in the game on grass, sod on plastic, asked a lot of questions.
Very cool.
And then most of my time was spent doing like the maintenance work. They go like around the city and they have contracts with like schools, parks, different places, and they do aerification, phrase mowing, top dressing, things like that. So I got very comfortable on a tractor, which I'm very grateful for. I feel like everyone should learn how to operate heavy machinery.
Definitely.
And then kind of going into the origin story, during my time on the tractor, I would listen to a bunch of different podcasts, 8-10 hours a day. And I listened to a lot of Drew's podcasts and the Penn State ones and all the different kinds of turf podcasts there were. And I just kind of like had this idea that what if I made a podcast? That sounds fun.
Yeah.
And because all of the podcasts now are kind of more centered towards industry professionals to industry professionals, which is great. People need things to relate to. They need to be able to talk about the issues they're having. But for someone like me who is new in the industry, I don't have a ton of experience. I'm not a professional. I was interested in maybe creating something that would just, I guess, explore the turf industry and give good advice and good career paths to people my age and people who are younger. Yeah. So that was kind of the vision. And then also during my summer, I got to record a podcast with Drew for the Toro leadership podcast that he was doing. And so obviously I got to run all my ideas by him, and he has been super helpful and just incredible throughout this whole experience.
Well, and really, those college years and when you're navigating career choices, it's such a transitional period that since it is such a natural thing and we all go through it, it's really easy to forget and just be like, oh, that everyone does that. But when you are in it, in the thick of it, it's all consuming sometimes. So I love that you felt, the need to have a voice for people in, your similar position that are going through that transitional period, because when you're hearing from industry professionals who sometimes they'll just chalk it up to, well, then, right out of college, I got this job and then I was here, and it's like, oh, well, crap, that's not happening for me. Or is it really that easy? Like, because it hasn't been that easy for me. So to kind of really get someone who's in the thick of it and hear from them, I think is going to be monumental. So I'm so excited for you, and I think it's going to have a real impact.
And also, I think that there's so many different career paths that we don't think about
Mm-hmm.
as like college students. It's very golf or sports fields, and
Mm-hmm.
those two paths are great. And I know a lot of people who have graduated throughout my time who have gone to either one of those and they love it.
Yeah.
But sometimes that there's a lot more to explore, and I just want to be an avenue for people to discover those different careers.
I
So
love that. And that is so true. And in so many different ways about the turf industry, it is so robust in that sense. And really until I started going on those trips and meeting the women in turf team, did I realize like all the different ways you could be involved in turf. Because I stumbled upon it for sure. I had a journalism degree and I, just applied for a position at like a sports company is what I thought I was coming to work at in, my hometown and just the eye-opening experience that it's been. So I think that's such a great platform and you're never going to run out of people to talk to because
exactly.
because
Yeah.
there are plenty of, like you said, paths and avenues that you can kind of take that. But no, that's so exciting. And also just to go back to your experience as a student, what an incredible place that you're at. Like it's especially, when we met at the Little League World Series, you were kind of like, yeah, I joined this. And it's like, for someone like who was like, yeah, I kind of am into to have all those resources right at your, like Nick McKenna, Chase Straw, Weston, Floyd, like what an incredible experience that you're getting just at school.
Oh yeah, definitely incredibly blessed to have all of those experiences. And like I came into college as an animal science major, and
Hmm.
then actually right before I went to Little League World Series is kind of when I switched my major. So I just hit the ground. They just kind of threw me in the deep end basically,
Yeah.
which was great. And I got to meet like a ton of big names,
Hmm.
Sun, Amy, Chris, just like huge people in the industry. And it took me a while to realize like how big of a deal that was.
Yeah.
And especially just like coming from A&M, which is a big turf program, and
Hmm.
having all of those huge people in the industry there has been incredible.
Yeah.
So
Well, and
it's
A&M
definitely,
does a good job of having diversity within their program. So it's good that you got that experience so that when you end up somewhere else and you're like, "Oh, crap, I'm the only female that I can see for the next mile." It's like now you have those other people that have those similar experiences because coming from A&M, you're like it might have been like a culture shock to go somewhere else and be like, "Oh man, like this isn't, you know, the same kind of diversity that's reflected in that program."
yeah, it's just me and Megan, but
Well,
I
that's a
wouldn't
lot,
have it any other
honestly.
way. Yes.
Just to have
So,
one other. Well, wasn't there Cassie Reed? Am I remembering that correctly?
yes, she was a master's student. She
Okay,
recently graduated.
awesome. Yep, she's the other one I'm remembering. There was three of you at one point. What
Was. And what's crazy is me and Megan have known each other forever, which is like
Yeah,
the funniest part. It's like we've been friends since kindergarten, and now we're both here at Turf
wild.
and him.
Wild. That really is crazy. So that's a little bit about your turf origin story, and you told us a little bit about the Grass turf origin story. But tell us really, what your plan is, like, or how we can help you in the industry. As far as what is the call to action here? How do we get people on your radar, or how do we send them your way so that they can, be a guest or just help this podcast end up in the right place?
Yeah, I want to be able to highlight students as well as one of my big goals is so I want to have students from all over the country, all different turf programs. I want them to be able to come on my podcast, say, this is my experiences, this is why I love the turf industry, this is what I have to offer,
Hmm.
because I think that's huge and that's really important. Because maybe they don't have quite as big of a network. Um, so that's important. I want to do different series based upon careers, is how I would
Hmm.
like to structure it. I know that possibly might not work out, but I feel like I have a lot of different connections in all different kinds of
Mm-hmm.
parts of the industry. So just having as diverse of an guest audience as
Yeah.
possible would be awesome. And then another big one of my goals is like I want to reach people outside of the industry as well.
Mm-hmm.
I was an FFA for 4 years in high school, and I know
Okay.
that different states have a turf. They have turf curriculum. They have a turf contest in their FFA curriculum, and I would love to be able to go to different like high school chapters or junior high chapters all throughout the state and be able to educate them because I feel like that's a big missed opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
especially in Texas, where we don't have a lot of high school involvement.
Yep. And I can remember like actually interviewing Chase and Weston on this particular topic, like about how do we, engage the next generation. And that was something they said is such a pool that we need to tap into, or those FFA interested. We definitely go after the athletes a lot.
Mhm.
But that's another avenue that could definitely be beneficial. And any other like avenues that you think we need to kind of get the message out to in front of, or like from your experience, how did the message reach you and how can we kind of replicate that for other students?
I think that even I know there's a big push for the younger generation, but even in college, it's not too late to be in college and
Mm-hmm.
change your major, which is my story and a bunch of other people's story.
Yep.
Um, and just as far as just like trying to get the word out there, just I think my school has done a very good job at
Mm-hmm.
that. They highlighted Megan and I a lot after our different experiences, which was super cool, a great experience. And I had a ton of people reaching out to me and asking questions. And some people do know me as the redheaded turf girl who studies grass, and that's great and that's awesome. And I just being able to answer all those questions to my peers
Yeah.
is huge. And so I think social media has played a big part of that. A&M
Mm-hmm.
has done a really good job putting that on a bunch of different platforms. But it's not too late to get to the people that are in college that maybe might want to change their major, and I'm living proof of that.
I
So
agree. And just, even if it's, baby steps, getting them to join a crew or, just get in a seasonal job when they go home for the summer or something. As soon as you get, it really feels like, in my experience at least, as soon as someone gets a taste for it, it's like game over. Like
yeah.
they're in it for the long haul. Um, well, that's very cool. And, as far as the end of your, well, I guess you're only a junior, but as far as the next 2 years go for you, like what are your hopes and goals with navigating those big career decisions and kind of finding a home within the industry?
Yeah, that's definitely a big one for sure because
Yeah.
I only have one summer left, right? So I kind of have been feeling the pressure lately of finding a good internship for this summer. And I think that I have I've experienced athletics. I'm sorry, golf people. I'm not a golf gal. I don't see myself going into the
Yeah.
golf world. I'm thinking that I'm really gonna like the construction aspect and the
Cool.
design. It's a little bit more niche, but I definitely want to be able to I love turf and I love doing these kinds of things, but I definitely want to be able to have a family and
Hmm.
have a life. And I know that some of those sports field guys, they work a lot and that's awesome.
Hmm.
But just being able, I want to be able to find a job that has a good balance between
Of
those
course.
two is one of my big goals coming up.
Well, and I love that you brought that up because I was just, talking with my sister-in-law the other day, and she's only a senior in high school. And already feels that pressure of like, she's a senior in high school, and she's like, I need to choose a career that allows me to have kids. And
Mm,
like, and how scary that is that that's something we even have to start. And it's, and I hate to like like put a divide in the industry or whatever, but there is a part of the industry that is like when, for at least 4 months we're unoperational. Like
Yeah.
you've got a huge belly that you have to protect. And that's scary. And how has that, do you feel like you've had resources to talk to about that, or people that you can kind of pick their brain about it? Or do you think that's something that needs to be more readily accessible for young women in the turf industry?
Yeah. I mean, well, first of all, my experience as a woman in turf has been incredible. I
Hmm.
haven't had all of the guys I have worked with treated me so well.
Yeah.
I'm right there with them. They are incredible and awesome. But and it's not their fault that they don't have those thoughts and they don't really understand. And it
Yeah.
being predominantly male industry, it's just gonna it's just gonna be tough. It's
Yeah.
just how it is. So I personally haven't had a ton of people to get to talk to about like how, especially like in the sports field industry that is so demanding, like how do you have a family and how do you balance work?
Hmm.
So that's definitely something that I would love to chat with someone about.
Yeah, explore the topic more. And I completely agree with you is that I really haven't come across anyone that's like, oh, I hate working in a predominantly male industry. Like
Mhm.
especially this one, they're like, oh no, I've been treated great and the experience has been great. And but and again, it's not their fault that they don't have those
Mhm.
thoughts.
Yeah.
And so I love that you said that. And I do think that it could be really beneficial though for young women and young moms and or moms that have made it through, like now their kids are in high school or what have you, to kind of share that knowledge, because I only know a handful of them in the industry, and I know they're people I really relied on, and the things that they said to me I've taken with me. Like I can remember I recorded my first ever groundskeeper chat. It was like in the middle of COVID, and I was like 8 months pregnant, and I interviewed Abby McNeil. She's out of Denver. Um, and she had twins. And I said, like, well, how do you like balance it all? And she said, you have to like include them in your job. Like, she's like, and that doesn't mean, they're coming to work with you every day, but if you have to go check your fields because it's about to rain or because, somebody opened the gate or whatever, she's like, bring the kids along, put them on the mower with you, like, really have them enjoy that joy of your life.
Yeah.
And when I traveled with the women in turf team for the first like golf tournament that I went to at Pine Needles, my son got to come with me. And like it really was like so cool to share that experience with him. And it just brought it full circle for
Yeah.
me. So that's a piece of advice that I was given that I can share to others because it's something that really resonated with me.
Yeah.
So I think that's even something that my parents, they both worked, office jobs like 40 hours a week. And like my dad, even though he worked in the factory, like if he had to go in on the weekend or something he like did audits at factories. So he had to make sure everything was like running safely. And so like he would literally put us in a hard hat and goggles and like take us with
Oh,
him. And I can remember like understanding like how like the CNC machines like worked or like what they were from a very
yeah.
early age. And just having an appreciation for like what my parents did like early on.
Oh, yeah.
And I spent many sick days under my mom's desk at her job.
Yeah.
I
My
would
dad's
see,
a firefighter, so
oh
I
wow,
always got to go and play in the fire trucks and ambulances, and so yeah, I get that a lot.
it's a key to success is just bring them along when you can and when it's safe for sure. So, well, I love that you brought that up. Before we head out here, I wanted to introduce you to one of our new segments called the Weather Report,
Um,
and it's just things that have you excited out in the industry. So, one of the things that I've just been excited like every night when I'm on social media is the ASU grounds crew from Arizona State University. I don't know if it's like their football team social media manager or if someone actually on the crew, but like their videos have been, I like literally texted my boss. I said, they're getting so good at these, it's making me jealous. And he was like, I know, I'm like waiting for them to come out
They're
with more.
so
I feel like a stalker.
satisfying.
They are, and they're so well done. And I'm like, I just hope everyone is seeing these so that other people get inspired, because that's definitely a way to catch the eyeballs of the next generation, is those satisfying TikTok like videos. So that's one thing that has me excited. And you can ponder if you need to, but I will put you on the spot to hear
Okay.
what has you excited out in the industry.
Hmm. I don't know. I guess, well, we have our football guy, Drew Slinsky.
Mhm.
He's our TikToker. He does all kinds of those things, and I always get excited when I see those on
Mhm.
social media or anything. Um,
Yeah, I've seen
I
Megan has like reposted a few of
oh
those,
yeah.
like T minus this many days or what have you.
Yeah, painting lines and stuff. That always gets me excited. I feel like coming into the new school year, we had a lot of kids graduate. I think we had
Hmm.
like 4 or 5, and we got 7 new turf students
Oh,
this
cool.
coming school year. So that's something, because I work for Chase, so I've been able to talk with him about that kind of stuff. But that's been getting me really excited
Yeah,
because some of them want to do golf, some of them want to do sports fields, or some of them want to do like more residential things. So just getting to talk, and most of them are from out of state, which is really cool.
very cool.
So getting to talk with them and just form new relationships has been really exciting, and it's been getting me excited for things like conference, getting to see all my
Hmm.
friends again. But just like the new blood in the program has been really
Definitely.
exciting.
Will we see you at the conference this year then?
Yes, I
Awesome.
am planning on going unless something crazy happens. I
Well,
don't
you
know.
never know in this world, truly. But maybe we'll have you and Megan join us for another live groundskeeper chat.
Yeah.
I'll be there this time because I will not be 9 months pregnant like last year. So,
There you go.
well, thank you so much for joining us. This was awesome. And I'm glad to hear your take on everything, but even more excited to see the podcast release more episodes. And this is us officially signing up to be a #1 fan. So,
Oh, goodness. Well, thank you. I appreciate that very much.
of course. And you have a great holiday weekend. I hope you get to enjoy it in
Yes,
some
ma'am.
way, shape, way, or form.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. We'll talk soon.